Good morning, cultists. Welcome to Dessert Time with Cthulhu's. Welcome to the post-mortem for the Lecherous Leprechauns campaign. Today we're going to be going through the life and lovers of the various leprechaun rulers that we've had in this campaign. And so let's start things off with Chief Fabrosi, who started off as a lowly count off in Desmond. Which I guess is not called Desmond right now, but I guess if the British took over it, maybe it'd be called Desmond. I don't know. But yeah, so Fabrosi started off with, I believe, I don't think he actually started off with a wife. We had to find a wife. But I think before we actually had a wife, we started banging some women here. So we had Lurban, with whom we've had, I guess, gave birth to Jennifer Morrison and some lady with man face, and Ben Ulaid, and we gave birth to some. You know what? Let's just forget the people with whom we didn't really have any notable characters. So we've got Ithne, who again gave birth to non-leprechauns, and I think we actually these two may have been our only legitimate wives. So with Here's With, who I believe herself was a leprechaun. We had, who was it? Corvus. The, Duke. Duke Corvus, the Persevering of Mumu. And he was called the Persevering because he had, well, he lost his hand and his face. Yet he somehow survived all that shit. He didn't actually get to live that long. He died at 48, which is relatively young. By comparison to some of the other characters that I played in other campaigns and whatnot. And he actually married his father's former lover. Or no, he had a child with his... Oh, you know what? Corvus never actually had a wife. He just had a string of lovers, one of them being his father's former lover. I'm assuming Ithne? Yes. He actually started banging his... Yep, there we go. He started banging his... father's lover. Had a whole bunch of children. With Ithne, he also had Fabrosi. So that was kind of cool. But I don't think we named Fabrosi anything different because we just automatically assumed that Akabesh would inherit. Which she did. Akabesh, the noble with the weird hair and Dr. Seuss-like face. He straight up looks like a character from Dr. Seuss. I swear, I've seen that face before. I don't know. Anyways, with Akabesh, we managed to have, I think, a string of lovers as well. And who is she? Samthon. Samthon was not actually a leprechaun. But with Samthon, we actually managed to have, let's see, Pluten. And I think we actually had a couple more leprechaun children, didn't we? Yeah, Gabe Ferguson was a leprechaun child. And I think... Was that it? Really? We only had 2 leprechaun children with Akabesh. Huh. I mean, we had our firstborn daughter, who was a leprechaun, but beyond that, no. So then Pluten inherited next, with Samthon being the mother. And with Pluten, he had several wives. He had 3 wives. Yeah, I remember that. And with, did he actually have any leprechaun children with his wives? He didn't. With his lover, Befail, he had the Fail and Gabe Ferguson. And I don't think I actually had any other notable leprechaun children. I mean, we had a child with Eleonora, whom we named Eleonora. Actually, we did have a few more leprechaun children. The Black Plague. Did the Black Plague even happen? I don't remember how Fergal died of the Black Plague. But I don't remember the Black Plague happening. I think it still hasn't triggered yet. Wow. We actually managed to finish this before the Black Plague triggered. Then again, it was a pretty short campaign. Or it was meant to be a pretty short campaign anyway, so I guess that kind of makes sense. But, With Eleonora, we actually had a few dwarven children. One of whom was Eleonora. And we'll get back to Eleonora in a bit. But with Pluten, Pluten was succeeded by Gabe Ferguson, and Pluten died relatively young too, so 45. Gabe Ferguson died at the tender age of 33. 33, that's crazy young. Even for a CK2 character. With Gabe Ferguson, Lucia. Lucia was also not a leprechaun, so somehow we still managed to have a leprechaun heir though. So that was pretty cool. And I believe that was Emeraldus. Emeraldus the witch hunter. Who survived, who lived till 81. That was crazy. I mean, he got the herb, but still. He lived till 81. That's impressive as all hell. And we had a fair bit of children with Emeraldus and his first lover, I think, who was a dwarf. I don't think we actually married her, did we? No, we had 4 wives. But yeah, they look similar, but they're not actually the same. I believe we had some leprechaun daughters, but I don't think we actually bothered to rename any of our leprechaun daughters. Whoa. Did this guy actually become the Grand Master of the Teutonic Order? What? That's crazy. But I think our firstborn, Lord Agony, died under unfortunate circumstances. And then we had Lord Agony II, who died of a bad case of the flu. I don't remember that happening. And then we had the 3rd Lord Agony. It's funny how the 2nd Lord Agony actually has like the Roman numerals. The 3rd Lord Agony doesn't. And then we had another Gabe Ferguson. Because we wanted to give Gabe Ferguson another chance, just in case it didn't work out with the Lord Agonies. And I believe with... yeah. We banged our half-sister, Eleonora? I mean, Emeraldus' half-sister. And then we had Lord Agony the First, who didn't unfortunately survive. With Grain, who was also not a leprechaun. We had our successor. What's his face? Lord Agony. It's getting way too difficult to remember. With her, we actually had a fair bit of yeah, I think we actually had a fair bit of dwarven children. I think we had, I say fair bit, but it was, well, I guess just 2. But anyways, with Lord Agony, he survived till 71, which is pretty crazy too. Not as crazy as Emeraldus, obviously. But we actually got really lucky with Lord Agony because at a certain point in his life, he contracted, or he didn't contract it, but he developed cancer. And to cure his cancer, he became a eunuch. We had to chop off his balls because I guess it was prostate cancer. But before we did that, we actually had Dirt McNoob. Lodari, we had with, I think his cousin or his half-sister, Christina, was a dwarf that we seduced, brought to our court, we seduced, and then we had a daughter, Christina, who is the half-sister of Dirt McNoob. But anyways, with Lord Agony, we had a... we had our current character, Dirt McNoob, with Tail Tew, who is also not a leprechaun. But regardless, we got pretty lucky in that sense. Had a couple of wives, I think. Yeah, nothing too notable. Had a couple of wives. But after he got his nuts chopped off, he couldn't marry anymore because I guess no one was interested. I don't know. With Dirt McNoob, the Strong of Albion. The Dull. I was actually very upset when he became dull. But he managed to turn it around by becoming immortal, and then, or brawny and you know, all these amazing traits, and then he also became immortal. And so I don't think Derp McNoob actually had a lot of lovers? Or am I wrong? I think... Let's see. Let's count this. We've had the... Okay, you know what? We did actually... Okay, never mind. We did have some lovers. We banged our cousin, and then we had 2 leprechaun children. We banged my half-sister, with whom I had another leprechaun child. And then I banged my wife, with whom we've had a shit ton of leprechaun children. Actually, I think Derp McNoob may have been the most successful at having leprechaun children. I think of all the children that he's had, only one of them is not a leprechaun. Wow, holy shit. Talk about luck. I mean, then again, we did mostly bang only, you know, leprechaun women, so I guess we kind of got lucky in that sense. Oh well. But, yep, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it wasn't gonna be a very long trek through memory lane. You know, it's not a lot of people to go through. Because, again, it's a pretty short campaign. And I apologize if that post-mortem was a little lackluster, if it was a little boring. I apologize, but you know what? Let's resign. And watch this window. 38,000. Actually relatively low in comparison to some of my other campaigns. But then again, I mean, you know, we stopped at being the Emperor of Britannia, which was our original goal, which we accomplished quite well, I would say. So, Fabrossi ruled for 23 years. About average-ish? Maybe a little short? My characters tend to rule for at least like 40 or something years. On average. And then with Corvus, the Persevering, he ruled for 31 years. Akabesh for 35 years. Pluten actually ruled for 26 years, which is longer than Fabrossi, but it felt a little shorter. With Gabe Ferguson, it felt really short because he actually started ruling when he was 8 years old. So we didn't really get to rule that long because we had to pass everything through council, and it was a whole mess and all that shit. But yeah, after we abolished council, it was just smooth sailing from then on. And then Emeraldus the Witch Hunter ruled for 72 years. 8 years shy of our current immortal character. That's crazy. And Lord Agony didn't rule for that long because Emeraldus just kept living. He just would not die. It was incredible. And then Lord Agony, you know, with his nuts chopped off and the whole cancer thing. Yeah, he didn't live for that long. Well, I guess he kind of lived as long as he did. But then he just didn't rule for that long. I think he actually inherited when he was in his 40s? Like mid to late 40s, so that was actually pretty old to inherit. And then Emperor Derp McNoob ruled for 80 years, and then for the rest of eternity, as we can tell from history. So, yeah, that was the Lecherous Leprechauns campaign. So, hope I will see you guys in the next campaign, which, as I mentioned, will probably be the Danish Vikings campaign. So, I think that's gonna be interesting. It'll be nice to be playing as the Vikings. I think playing as the Vikings is probably one of my favorite playthroughs or playstyles. Get to do a lot of raiding, and there isn't really even a moment's peace as Vikings because you're constantly raiding because you want to make money. Because basically there's not a lot of development in Scandinavia at this point in history. So I think it's gonna be fun. So hope you guys join me for that. And for now, we'll leave it off here, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow, possibly, hopefully, for a brand new campaign. So, thanks for watching, and have a good breakfast.